Day 2 here at the University of Colorado spring football practices. Linebacker day. Chris Marve on the podium, first time as defensive coordinator. QB1 as well. Let's start with Chris Marve, work through the linebackers, and let's talk about Julian Lewis. Obviously, lots of questions about the move from last week, really. Livingston moving on to the Denver Broncos and how, not rushed, but Coach Marv did say that he and Coach Prime did have these conversations. If this situation kind of came up, obviously it came up. They talked about it. It was a very natural transition from that point. Also some similarities he thinks on defense. It is very much going to be his defense, but also thinks that there'll be some overlap is what he said with Coach Liv's defense.
Yeah, what a 4D chess move it was for Coach Prime to bring in Chris Marve, because clearly he knew that Robert Livingston, they hold him in high regard, and so did NFL teams. And could you just imagine where this program would be right now if you hadn't made the Chris Marve hire and Robert Livingston was on his way out the door and you'd be sitting here in spring?
It'd be bad.
It'd be bad. The panic would be real and it would be legitimate. But Chris Marve is here as a former DC, as a longtime linebackers coach, and just hearing from some of his players today, this is somebody who is obviously energetic, youthful, like we've talked about. But this is somebody who is, to use the words of one of the linebackers we heard today, a very in-your-face coach. Yeah. Like, he's going to get after it. And I think that's what a defensive coordinator has to be, what a linebackers coach has to be. And Chris Marve kind of talked about it, right? Last year, 2025, he wasn't coaching, right? After his stint in Virginia Tech as their defensive coordinator, he took a year off from football. And he said the main thing he learned was how to become a better teacher. And I think that's so powerful, because at the core of coaching is teaching. Right, and he said he spent time with the Arizona Cardinals, time with the LA Rams at the NFL level to kind of, flesh out his coaching kind of profile, and so to speak. So I think this year off in 2025 was valuable for him, and I think we're going to get a better version of Chris Marve because of that.
Yeah, overall, a good first impression, I think, from Chris Marve with the media and just, talking about this move and everything that happened. He wasn't really trying to share too much about players. I tried, but, we'll get there. It's going to take a little bit of time, but...
That's what you want to hear, though, I think, from a DC.
Yes.
I'm not trying to pump anybody's head up. That's what you want to hear from your DC. You don't want him giving up secrets on day 2 of spring ball about who's balling and whatnot. So I actually like that approach.
But yeah, linebacker day. We had Tyler Martinez, we had Gideon Lamprin, and we had Leona Leafow on the podium. We knew Gideon, right? Former friend of the show, we could say. Couldn't get the smile off his face the entire time he was on that podium, too.
Smiler.
Immediately, that's the first thing I realized about him up on the podium. But talking about his impression of Chris Marve in the defense, he said, "I love it. A lot of it matches what I've done in the past. He's a general and a pretty stern guy." So, look, this room was not good last year. They couldn't tackle, and immediate impressions tells me that this is a room that is locked in. There's some leadership there, and obviously the ability is off the charts to this point, too.
I love some of the overlap, right? The familiarity that, Gideon has with some of Chris Marve's principles on the defensive side of the ball. You love that, because it's going to allow Gideon to play faster, to learn this system, this new scheme a lot faster. He goes, talking about the linebackers, we're going to play violent and fast. Our standard is excellence. And that's what you want to hear. If that linebacker core is excellent in 2026, this defense is going to be really, really good. And those linebackers are at the core of it. Gideon said that Leona and Tyler Martinez are already his best friends on the team. So that's already a very tight-knit group and position room. So, man, I think the sky's the limit for those 3 guys in particular and the rest of that room.
No doubt. You had a great question for Tyler Martinez, talking about his NMSU teammates and following him over here, if you want to share what he had to say about that.
For sure, yeah. Obviously, Tyler Martinez, right, is 3 former teammates on this team. His 2 New Mexico State former teammates, Ezra Christensen and Nate Mitchell, and then Billy Tafafatoa, who he was JUCO teammates with almost 4 years ago. And that's what Tyler was talking about, like, he never imagined that they would be playing again together 4 years later, at the Power 4 level. He said he knew Billy was going to be a dog, but, it's just crazy how life works, right? As we talked about, Tyler, last year was supposed to be his last year of eligibility.
Right.
Had a season-ending injury, which allowed him to get another year of eligibility and come to Colorado this year. So just having prior relationships with teammates, I think, is so valuable, especially when you have 60 new players and a brand new team that has to bond and get together. So I love that from Tyler.
Yeah, he talked about that injury a lot last year and how much he learned from that and how tough it was to go through that. I think you're going to get a very motivated player in Tyler Martinez this year. Obviously, last year of eligibility now and kind of given that second chance with entering the portal and coming to Colorado. But Leona Leafow as well. He actually talked a little bit about practice and his impression of the team 2 practices in. He said everybody's just flying around trying to prove what they're capable of doing. It raises the bar for everyone because everyone's on their A game, just trying to compete every single day and elevate everybody else's game, not just yours, because at the end of the day, we're a team. Immediately, to me, Leona Leafau, the word I thought of was leader.
Put that L on his chest right now. I think all three of those dudes that we heard from today, all three of those linebackers, I should say. I mean, throw Julian in there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Put L's on their shirt. You know what I'm saying? I love Leona talking about Chris Marve, right? Because Chris Marve came here with the understanding maybe he could be the defensive coordinator, but he came here to be a linebackers coach.
Yeah.
And he was making plans of how he was going to operate practice as a linebackers coach. And then now he's the DC, and that's got to change your whole thing. Now you're not just worried about one position group. Now you got to worry about the whole defense.
Mm-hmm.
And Leona says, talking about Chris Marve, he was the same guy whether he was linebackers coach or DC, and I appreciate that. And somebody who is the same every day, right? You talk about that about quarterbacks,
Mm-hmm.
about head coaches. No matter what's going on, you want to see the same kind of person and temperament, and I think Chris Marve has that skill as well, so I love that.
Still mourning the loss of Don Ponder. We had Julian Lewis, QB1, on the podium for the first time today. I mean, if you saw his Instagram post, you could tell him, and the kid was visibly shaken, right? He called him his brother, his best friend on the team. They were locker room buddies. And as we talked about before, I mean, that QB room is so tight-knit, man. And now just being down one of your brothers, like there's almost like a hole in his heart. Like you could almost see it from how he was talking today. So it was obviously, you know, he was kind of still mournful, and the whole team is for sure, but hits him a little bit harder. On the go-go, though, said it looked beautiful to me, his first impression. He was talking about playing it on the game. He's just like us, bro.
He's just like us, twin. You love to see that, man. But again, kind of same with him, like just smiling and cheesing whenever Brendan Marion, whenever that go-go offense gets brought up. You know, he was also asked about his receivers.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, quick, shifty, lots of touchdowns, lots of lots of yards after catch. And that's kind of what we've seen through just 2 practices as well. Cam Perry, David Scudero, the rest of the crew, Quinn for 6, all that type of stuff. So Julian Lewis is going to have some elite weapons at his disposal and an elite play caller, an elite play designer, and Brendan Marion to utilize it all the right way.
Only 2 days in, lots more to go, but vibes are good, I'd say. I mean, I think there was a lot to learn from last year, and those lessons have already taken place. We'll be back on Friday for day 3. See y'all then.